stay within time. I get lost when
You're
I'm talking
good.
about him.
I will hop on at the hour mark, and okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
Well, I'm going to let you go ahead and teach. You have so much to share, and I can't wait. I'm got my pen ready, and so I'm ready to go.
Sounds great. Okay. Well, I thank you. I thank you for giving me this opportunity to share what's in my heart and to really talk it out, because it's information that it's in the process of being formed. He teaches us every day something new. So it's awesome. It's awesome to follow him. And you mentioned neuroscience, and I just want to give credit to where it's due. A lot of my teachings have been gleaned from working many years with Neil Anderson from Freedom in Christ, and being a facilitator or instructor or trainer. I can't remember what name she uses, with Halisa, studying neuroscience with Caroline Leaf, and Dr. Bailey is a great teacher too, with conscious discipline and all these things that I've been learning through my job. So I want to use today our going back to Eden. There is all kinds of ways that we can talk about it, but I would like to simplify it from the perspective of a parent. So that's what I do. I am a parent educator. I help parents get their children ready for kindergarten. So it's helping them work with their children, bring down concepts that are important for them to learn, because those 5 years, 0 to 5, are the years that we actually create our framework that we're going to be using in the years ahead. So it's a foundational time, especially the first 3 years. So, but you can give them words like sin or propitiation and things like that. They're like, what? It's not the kind of language that a child can learn, so, or understand at that point of their life. So we're going to start from the beginning. We're just going to break down the scriptures in a way that we can see that what he's telling us, and figure out, what is it exactly that you want from us? And we know we lost it. How do we get it back? And how do I live this life? So we're starting a new Torah cycle, a new, we talked about Torah being the instructions of God, the manual, the instructional manual that we need to live in this world that he created. He created this world, and he gave us a book that says, this is how you live in my world. And I created you, and this is how you are successful. So, why not study it? Why not look at it and say, hey, let me follow what he says, because he created it. He's not wrong. So, and if I do everything that he wants me to do, then I will find the answer, and I will get to the end of the book and be able to say, I did it. So from that perspective, let me get here my PowerPoint so that I'll share this with you.
I'm gonna hop in really quick just to let you know, we're hearing your move around with I don't know if it's bracelets hitting the microphone or something's hitting. So a couple of the ladies I can hear, we can hear some rustling. So,
well,
it
may be this. I don't have anything hanging. I was listening to Keisha earlier, so I didn't put anything on me that could create any noise. So I don't know.
It's good when you were just like that. We'll see. Okay, we'll keep going.
Right, because I was doing this. So do I need to have the microphone in front of my mouth? Okay, well, I can probably do that for a little bit. Okay, so let me get this started here. Okay, let me bring myself down so I can read. Okay, so we're going to see what hinders us from going back to Eden, we know that Adam and Eve sinned, and we were in him or in them. The seed for humanity started with Adam and Eve. So we were all there. So if we can just picture ourselves being Eve, right? And so that it's not, look what they did. This is all of us. We were there. We were in them. So if we look at that sin from the point of view as disobedience, which was really what they did, then we can think of, okay, what was it that they disobeyed, and how do I undo that? Because everything in, like in science, in our mind, we have toxic thoughts, and the way to get rid of them is changing them for the proper thought. So good thoughts create the neurotransmitters to dissolve anything that doesn't belong. And when it doesn't belong, it eventually disappears. Whatever we have created, and we have created these neural pathways and patterns of thinking that are wrong, we need to fix them. So how do we fix them? Instead of keep doing it the wrong way, we start doing it the right way. And eventually, it's like if I put a car in a field, or like we see it in cows, they always walk in the same path. The field can be as big as this house, but they will follow each other on that same path, and they make a pathway. And the same thing will be with a car. You know, we drove it back and forth. It gets to a point that it gets into those rocks, and we can just let the wheel go and push that pedal, and the car will stay on it until he gets to the other side, because they are embedded in those wheels are synced in to those rods. Now, when you want to get out of it, it's not easy. You have to pull the car. You're going to have to put a little bit of work on it to get those wheels out of those rods that you have created by going over back and forth. But eventually you get into the other side and you start creating new ones. And you know what? The car is going to go the same way that was in that one, is going to be on that one. So that's as simple as that. And that's what happens with memory. You know, we learn something, and our mind goes immediately and is able to repeat it because we've said it over and over and over, just kind of like our names. You know, is the word that we repeat the most of our lives. What's your name? What's your name? We're always saying our name. The moment that I hit my head, what's the first thing that an EMT is going to ask me? What's your name? Because if I can't remember that I've walked that path for however many years. I'm 60, so 60 years of saying my name over and over and over, and I don't remember it, then they know there is a problem in that mind, you know, in that brain. So that's the same thing. So we tell our children when we want them to do something, we don't tell them what we don't want them to do. We tell them what we want them to do, because we don't want to repeat in their little brains, don't run, don't run, don't run. No, we want them to, you know, when you're in the house, walk, you can run outside, you know, we want to tell them and those pathways to be positive ones, so that they automatically do what you have mentioned over and over. So going with that, the question is, was the creation of the world an experiment that went wrong? Like, God, oh no, look what they did. So now what? Let's do plan B. Or would it be that God is a good father, and just like any of us when we're teaching our children, he knew exactly how to deal with his creation and the limitations that we have in our finite minds and our earthly bodies. Somebody asked earlier something about this flesh. So we're going to go into that a little bit more deep to understand what does it really mean. So our premise, and we'll start with that, is that God is good. God is omnipotent, means that he is all-powerful. He is omniscient. That means that he knows it all. And that he is omnipresent. He is everywhere. So there is no place to hide. There is no place to go. This is his world, and he created us and put us in here. So with that in mind, we can learn through, if we can get that big picture, and just like Holisa didn't go into the creation gospel, the 7 days, and go into all the nitty gritty. She said it takes about a week, and it's amazing. Her books are this big, and yes, every chapter is packed full of information. So we can really put all that whole idea into an hour and do justice to it. So we're just going to get the big picture, so that if we understand the beginning from the end, and we know what basically we're looking at, then we can go and dive into the details and the different things that we can grow and expand. And that will help us to be better daughters, better wives, better sisters, mothers, grandmothers. So, and one of the things that God has been really dealing with me in the past few years has been the 13 attributes of our Father. Our Father is merciful. He's compassionate. He's slow to anger. I need to learn a lot about that one. And he's forgiving. We need to learn to forgive ourselves, and we need to learn to forgive others, because that way this trek, this journey back home makes it a little easier. So let's start from the beginning. We have in Genesis 1:26 says, "Then God said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the sky, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth." God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. God, and I changed the colors there, as Dr. Halisa was talking about, in the creation gospel. Here is the menorah. And if I like to, I use this a lot as a mnemonic device. It helps me memorize things. So I see that he blessed them. I'm going to put it in day one. And God, and said to them, be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, subdue it, and rule over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the sky, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. And when we see this, he is telling them, this is how you overcome. And, at that point is overcome what? Because otherwise you will die. If you disobey death, they have no clue what death is. It's that we tell our children, don't run into the street because it's dangerous. What's danger? They don't know what that means. A car may hit you and hurt you. Well, they understand hurt, but if we say you will die, they have no idea what death is either. So it's something that he starts giving us little cues, little clues of what is it that we need to look. So whenever we hear it again, we go, oh, that's what he was talking about. So if we think about it, blessing, and that first day he created light out of darkness. That is blessing in the middle of this world that is really dark, because we are blessed that he has opened our eyes to see truth. But those that are in darkness don't know, like in the book of Jonah, what's the right hand from the left. So that is, that reminds me of day one. So he blessed us. Then he asked them to be fruitful. And that fruitful means that there is fruit with a seed. And if I'm planting trees, I would have to separate to see which ones are going to give me fruit and which ones aren't. So when you're building, which is day two, that is when you build your house, like moms, we're building our house. We have to see which are the good materials that we're going to use to build our house. So that's a separation of the waters, right? The upper waters from the lower waters, the things that are from God. God gave us instructions of how to build this house. So we go by what he said, or I'm going to use my materials because I just happen to like this, that, and the other. Well, if I'm going to use my own wisdom, then you know what's going to happen. We know that little story of the three pigs building their houses. So then on day 3, he says, multiply. And we know that that seed will produce fruit and it will multiply. You all of a sudden get, one crop, more crops, and then you keep multiplying. But also day 3, as Dr. Halisa Alwine said, it is the day of resurrection. So when we resurrect, when I'm alive, when I am able to see, I'm able to have good seed to be fruitful, I can pass that on for multiplication because I am alive. I have resurrected. So then he tells us, he blesses us through Adam and Eve to fill the earth. And she talked about the moon, the star, and the sun. And Keisha also talked about that. Those are the authority, the governing objects that he has created to not only for a calendar, but also for tells us his appointed times so that we can meet with him. Because let me ask you something. If your husband says, okay, I want to marry you, you sign here, you sign there, but I'll never see you again, are you really married? Are you really one? You've never seen the man after you sign that paper. So it's the same thing with God. He has appointed times to meet with us. He invites us. Of course, we're with him. We started with the premises that he's everywhere, right? So it's not like he is not here. He is here. But am I acknowledging him? Is he part of my life? So that word fill is not just fill the earth, but that word also means to be filled, to be full of. So am I full of his word? I'm full of his knowledge. I'm full of or filling up, I would say. But it's with the understanding of completion, to be complete. So am I filling up and being complete in him or in myself? Am I just hot air that, like those toxic thoughts that they just puff and poof, they're gone? Or am I really building, not with wood, hay, and stubble, but I'm building with his material?